tassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Pay homage to Blessed One. Dear friend, today, February 1st, 2019, at Brahma Vihara Meditation Center, I would like to deliver from Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta number 43, Mahavedalla Sutta, the greatest series of questions and answers. So in this sutta, Venerable Mahakuttita asked many questions to Venerable Sariputta. As you know, Venerable Sariputta was a very intelligent monk during the Buddha's time. Only Venerable Sariputta could give Dhamma talk like exactly Buddha. The other monk couldn't deliver Dhamma talk like Buddha, Only Venerable Sariputta. So Sariputta was the chief disciple of the Buddha during the Buddha's time. So in this sutta, Venerable Kuttita, he asks some questions which are very, very deep. Everything about meditation. So we are going to discuss about it, then you will understand gradually. In this sutta said, thus have I heard on one occasion the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in Jata's group, Anathapindika Spur. This is the place where sutta delivered. Then when it was evening, the Venerable Mahakuttita rose from meditation, went to Venerable Sariputta and exchanged greeting with him. When we go to any Buddhist monk or when lay people come to us, so they pay respect to us 3 times and then they sit one side, right? It's exactly the same. When this courteous and amiable talk was finished, he sat down at one side and said to Venerable Sariputta, one who is unwise is said, friend. With reference to what is this said, one who is unwise. What does it mean here, unwise? Unwise means one who doesn't understand the Four Noble Truths. One who cannot see the link of dependent origination. That's why here Venerable Sariputta said, the Venerable Kuttita asked this question from Venerable Sariputta. Why someone say unwise, unwise, unwise? What does it mean? Venerable Sariputta is going to answer. One does not wisely understand, friend. That is why it is said, one who is unwise. You see, this is a very short answer. So Venerable Kuttita didn't understand. So he will ask again, what doesn't one wisely understand? One does not wisely understand means this is suffering, dukkha, right? So what is dukkha? He doesn't know. He doesn't understand. What is the dukkha? Most of the people, they never practice meditation, and then when we explain to them suffering, they never understand. So those who are practitioners, they will understand very clearly, because they will be able to see the link of the dependent origination, and the true knowledge will arise in their mind, right? And greed, hatred, delusion, all those things will be abandoned. Then true knowledge will arise in their mind and wisdom will arise. That means they will be able to see. They will see clearly the link of divine origination, So, one who does not wisely understand, this is suffering. One does not wisely understand, this is the origin of suffering. So, origin of suffering means samudaya. Right? One does not wisely understand, this is the cessation of suffering. It's called Nirodha. So here, this is the origin of suffering. That means, what the origin of suffering? How suffering arises? That means we create ourselves craving. Right? We do something bad, and when you go below, then you'll see it will be very more clear. Then you understand the cause of suffering, the origin of suffering. So who created that? We create that. So when the craving is arising, if we know, if we understand, that means, you see, when we say all the time to take relax. See, relax in your head, in your whole body. When unwholesome thought arise, just recognize it, release, relax in your head, in your whole body. Bring up the wholesome thought by smiling. Keep the wholesome thought continuously. In that way, you can recognize first and release. Don't keep attention there, because this is also unwholesome. And relax in your head, in your whole body. Then you feel light, clear, and then agile. So that way you are abandoning craving slowly, by step, right? The cessation of suffering, that means you are abandoning. The cessation of suffering, you understand one by one. So more you use the harmonious practice or the right effort, then more you will abandon craving. Okay? Then the cessation will come to your mind. One does not wisely understand this is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. That means Eightfold Noble Path. So if you follow the Eightfold Noble Path, then you will be able to attain Nibbana, or you will be able to overcome or abandon craving. So when you can abandon craving, then the cessation of suffering will arise in your mind. This is Nibbana. Your mind will be calm, peaceful, tranquil, all the time. So, one does not wisely understand, friend, that is why it is said, one who is unwise. So, this is the first question and answer, right? Now, Venerable Kuttika saying, good friend, the Venerable Mahakuttita delighted and rejoiced in the Venerable Sariputta's word. Then he asked him a further question. You see, the first question finished, answer also finished. Then he is going to ask that next question. Next question will be just opposite. Unwise, this one will be wise. One who is wise is said, friend. With reference to what is this said, one who is wise. Venerable Sariputta is going to answer. One wisely understands, friend. That is why it is said, one who is wise. You see, if you understand the link of dependent origination and the suffering, dukkha, the origin of suffering, samudaya, the cessation of suffering, nirodha, then the way leading to the cessation of suffering, magga. In that way, that means that wisdom rise in your mind. Then you will be able to see all the link of divinity origination. Then everything coming and passing away, coming, passing away. Everything is anicca, impermanence, suffering, and dukkha, and anatta, impersonal. So when you see, your mind will not attach to those things. It will be no. It will be disenchantment. You know. So one wisely understand, friend. That is why it is said, one who is wise. What does one wisely understand? One wisely understand this is suffering. What is suffering? They will understand. One wisely understand this is suffering. One wisely understand this is the origin of suffering. One wisely understand this is the cessation of suffering. One wisely understand this is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. One wisely understands, friend, that is why it is said, one who is wise. Is it clear? Just opposite. You see, unwise and wise. So, if someone doesn't understand the Four Noble Truths, the link of dependent origination, that means he's unwise. And one who understands, that means he is wise. You see? And next is vijnana, consciousness. You see, the first question, second question done, and answer also done. Now, Kuttita, Venerable Kuttita, is going to ask another question. Vijnana. What does it mean vijnana? What does it mean vijnana? Consciousness. Consciousness is said, friend. With reference to what is consciousness said, it cognizes. It cognizes, friend. That is why consciousness is said. What does it mean cognizes? Seeing present. Seeing present dependent origination. In this moment, see the presence cognizes. What does it cognize? It cognizes. It is pleasant, you see. It cognizes. It is painful. So it is pleasant means what? Sukha. This is pleasant. This is painful. Dukkha. It cognizes. So when pleasant feeling arises, then I cognize it. When dukkha arises, painful feeling arises, sukha, dukkha, na dukkha, na sukha, right? That means neither painful nor pleasant, na dukkha, na sukha. Then it cognizes. See, it sees, right? So who can see? One who practices meditation, right? And if someone never practice, if you explain them, will they cognize? No. They don't know what you are talking about, right? It cognizes, friend. That is why consciousness is said. And the next one, wisdom and consciousness, friend, are these states conjoined or disjoint? Now is going to ask the difficult question. This is entirely insight. It will be very, very deep. So you have to pay attention to it. And is it possible to separate each of these states from the earlier in order to describe the difference between them. Wisdom and consciousness, friend, these states are conjoined, not disjoint. Does it make sense? Do you understand it? It means never is one only conjoined, never disjoint. Wisdom and consciousness is like that. It's associated, conjoined, never disjoint. And he has said you cannot separate from those two things, consciousness and wisdom. You cannot separate. They are always conjoined. Wisdom and consciousness, friend, these states are conjoined, not disjoint. And it is impossible to separate each of these states from the other in order to describe the difference between them. For what one wisely understands, that one cognizes, and what one cognizes, that one wisely understands. Is it clear? If you don't understand, so let me know, okay? That is why these states are conjoined, not disjoint. And it is impossible to separate each of these states from the other in order to describe the difference between them. So it's not easy to separate. It's always conjoined, not disjoint. And Venerable Mahavedalla asked another question. What is the difference, friend, between wisdom and consciousness? You see? What is the difference? So wisdom, we call in Pali, Panya. And consciousness, Vijnana. These states are conjoined, not disjoint. So, Venerable Sariputta is going to answer. The difference, friend, between wisdom and consciousness, these states that are conjoined, not disjoint, is this. Wisdom is to be developed, you see. He's going to explain very clearly. Wisdom is to be developed, consciousness is to be fully understood. You got it? That means wisdom is to be developed and consciousness is fully understood. This is the difference between wisdom and consciousness. So, wisdom means will develop gradually. The more you practice, more your mind will develop and the wisdom will rise. And then the consciousness is to be fully understand what is going on, what is going on. This is the difference. And now, Vedana, feeling. Venerable Mahavedalla is going to ask about the feeling. How many feelings? Do you know that?
3.
There are 3 feelings. Sukha Vedana, Dukkha Vedana, Na Sukha, Na Dukkha Vedana. Feeling is said, friend. With reference to what is feeling said, it feels, friend. That is why feeling is said. What does it feel? It feels pleasure, sukha. It feels pain, dukkha. It feels neither pain nor pleasure. That means na dukkha, na sukha, right? Do you feel that when you practice meditation? Sometimes painful feeling arise, sometimes dukkha feeling arise. Sometimes na dukkha, na sukha feeling arise, right? Sometimes pleasant feeling arise, sometimes painful feeling arise, sometimes neither pain nor pleasure rise. Upekkha, equanimity rise, right? So this is called na dukkha na sukha. This means neutral feeling. You feel neutral feeling. It feels friend. That is why feeling is sad. You see, all those things about the dependent origination. They are part of dependent origination. So now, Venerable Mahakuttita going to ask, what does it mean perception? Sanya. What does it mean? Sanya means naming things. I open the eye, I see color. What color? Red color, white color, yellow color, blue color. I saw that, right? If you close your eyes, if you close your eyes, will you see anything? No. When you open your eyes, then you will see color. Black, yellow, blue, red, white, right? You will see all those things. So here said, perception, sanya, is said, friend, with reference to what is perception said? It perceives. You see, when you open your eyes, then it perceives. What perceives? Color. It perceives, friend. That is why perception is said. What does it perceive? It perceives blue. It perceives yellow. It perceives red. And it perceives white. That is saying that it names things and it has memory in it too. You see? This is saying that it names things and it has memory in it too. This is the perception function. It perceives, friend. That is why perception is said. Is it clear? Sanya. And now, feeling, vedana, sanya, perception, and consciousness. Three things. 1, 2, 3. Feeling, vedana, sanya, perception, consciousness, vijnana. Three things conjoined will be conjoined. Never said disjoint. Not disjoint. Here, feeling, perception, and consciousness, friend, are these states conjoined or disjoint? You see? Who asked that? Mahakuttita. Mahakuttita asks. Feeling, sanya, vedana, sanya, and vijnana. Are they conjoined or disjoint? Then Venerable Sariputta said, no, he asked one more question. Is it possible to separate each of these states from the others in order to describe the difference between them? Two questions. One is, they are joint or conjoined or disjoint. And another one, they can separate or not. Two things. Now, Venerable Sariputta will say, feeling, perception, and consciousness, friend, these states are conjoined, not disjoint. And it is impossible to separate each of these states from the others in order to describe the difference between them. You see? You cannot separate them. For what one feels, that one perceives. And what one perceives, that one cognizes. You see, one joined with, because of one thing, another one coming. Because of another thing, another one coming. That's why Venerable Sariputta said here, for what one feels, if you don't feel, the next one won't come. For what one feels, that one perceives. And what one perceives, that one cognizes. Is it cognizes or cognize? As cognizes, right? Cognizes. That is why these states are conjoined, not disjoint. And it is impossible to separate each of these states from the others in order to describe the difference between them. You cannot separate. It's always conjoined. You see? Now, Venerable Sariputta will explain about the mind. Venerable Mahakutita will ask more deeper question. So this one you'll understand slowly because you are now advanced meditator and you are practicing the sixth direction right now. So from these states you get in the next one, and Venerable Sariputta will talk here. Friend, what can be known by purified mind consciousness released from the five faculties? You see, there are five faculties. What are they? Eye faculties, ear faculties, nose faculties, tongue faculties, and then what? Body faculties. Five, right? Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body. Yeah, five. Five faculties. So through the five faculties also unwholesome thought arise. Craving arise, you know. So if you cannot recognize, release, relax, and then cannot use, if you don't use the harmonious practice, then craving will arise more and more and more. You don't know how to handle it. So that's why you have to use all the time harmonious practice, right? All the time, until you attain arahantship. Friend, what can be known by purified mind consciousness released from the five faculties? How possible? How can be released? You know? Friend, by purified mind consciousness released from the five faculties, the base of infinite space can be known. Thus, space is infinite. What does it mean? Do you understand what Venerable Sariputta is talking about? Akasa nanchayatana. Akasa nanchayatana means the base of infinite space. So when you practice the sixth direction, you radiate loving kindness forward 5 minutes, and backward 5 minutes, left side 5 minutes, right side 5 minutes, above 5 minutes, below 5 minutes, and all direction the rest of time. That means may all in the forward, how will you radiate? You close your eyes, you start radiating forward. May all living beings, may all deities, may all human beings be happy, be calm, be peaceful, be free from suffering, be free from danger. Whatever you want to wish, you can, wish. And then you will feel that how your loving kindness is radiating slowly from near to far. You experience that. You feel that. That's why this is the feeling meditation. You have to feel that. You must feel that. That's why most of the people, when they practice loving kindness meditation, they can that can progress very faster than others practice. You know? So at this center, many meditators came, and within 1 week they experience a lot what they never experienced before. Even they didn't understand what jhana means, But after coming here, they understood very clearly. We also will talk about a jhana, little bit down, little bit below, you will get it. So here, the base of infinite space means akasa nanchayatana. So how will you understand when you are at that stage? You are very close, because you are practicing now 6 direction, right? So when you are practicing, your feeling is not here, in the center of your chest, your feeling is in your head. So from here, you are radiating loving kindness. Forward, backward, left, right, up, above, below, and all direction, right? Then you feel you are almost like on the sky. Your mind is so tranquil. No painful, neither pain nor pleasant. You feel neutral. Your mind is so neutral. Equanimity a lot. Then you don't feel that you have body. You feel you have only mind. You practicing sitting meditation for 1 hour, 2 hours, then you feel, wow, I have body or not. You don't have anything. You have only mind. It's working, That's why immaterial realms is called immaterial realms, arupa loka. And you feel that you are like on the sky, like on the ocean. That's why it is called the base of infinite space. You get a lot of your insight will be more stronger than before. That's why here samatha, tranquility in serenity, and vipassana, insight, evenly yoked together, never separated. They work together. But I don't know why many scholars and meditation teacher, they always say vipassana, vipassana, vipassana. But in the Sutta, Buddha never said that. Buddha said only serenity inside, serenity inside, serenity inside. Most of the Sutta, Buddha explained like that. Never separated. And even Buddha explained Sutta number 149, section number 10. Samatha and vipassana evenly yoked together. Never separated. They work together. You see, when you read this many suttas from Majjhima Nikaya, you will find that Buddha never said only vipassana, vipassana, vipassana. Never said that. He said serenity inside, serenity inside, serenity inside. That means samatha vipassana, samatha vipassana, samatha vipassana. You see? So when you get the 4th jhana, when you attain the 4th jhana, from that stage, your meditation will automatically change to the compassion. How do you experience that? You have to tell me. I am not going to tell you. When I take interview from you, then I'll understand. At that time, I'll explain. But if I now explain you, maybe you might be wondering, So the base of infinite space, you cannot practice anymore loving kindness. Your meditation will change, automatically will change. From loving kindness to compassion. in that stage. And then the base of infinite consciousness can be known thus. The consciousness is infinite, you see? So when you attain the base of infinite space, what meditation will you do? Compassion, right? And when you practice compassion, if you know the loving kindness meditation, how to practice loving kindness meditation, then compassion is easier. And if you know about the compassion meditation very well, then joy, mudita will be easier. And if you know the mudita well, then equanimity, upekka will be more easier. The same way you will practice. Only meditation will be changed automatically. So the consciousness is infinite, the base of infinite consciousness. In that stage, you cannot practice any more compassion. You will practice mudita, joy. So how do you know that? You will see 1,000 consciousness, the snap of the finger, 1,000 consciousness arise, passing away, rising, passing away, rising, passing away. You will see the link of the consciousness. You will feel that and you will experience that everything is anicca, impermanence, suffering, dukkha, and anatta, impersonal. Nothing permanent. Everything impermanence, suffering, and impersonal. Nothing personal. You see, a lot of problem is coming in our mind when we take something personal. This is me, this is mine, this is I am, right? So when you attain that stage, you will practice mudita, joy. You will experience that, you see that how consciousness rising, passing away, that birth, you see? You will feel that. The base of nothingness can be known thus, there is nothing. That means, what does it mean? It means akinchina ayatana. First one, akasana ayatana, and second one, vijnana nanchayatana, and then third one, there is nothing. Akinchina ayatana. So in that stage, just practice watching the mind. Just watching. When your mind is a little bit unbalanced, then is the immediately harmonious practice, right effort. And then again watching your mind. And that stage, your insight will be more strong. You might not be so balanced. You'll be able to sit 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours like that, without moving, without any distraction. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, right? 50 minutes, no distraction. You might not be so tranquil, so balanced. You'll get a lot of insight in that stage. It's called equanimity. Upekka. Okay? And then Venerable Mahakutita said, friend, what is the purpose of wisdom? You see? First time he asked, what does it mean wisdom? Right? Yeah. What is the function of the wisdom? And now he said, what is the purpose of wisdom? The purpose of wisdom, friend, is direct knowledge. What does it mean, direct knowledge?
Knowing by experience.
Yeah, only through the experience. True knowledge or direct knowledge. Panya. Its purpose is full understanding. Its purpose is abandon. Here, one thing you have to understand. Fully understanding means what? You understand how jhana factors are arising in your mind. Wholesome thought arising in your mind. You understand one by one. And then here said, its purpose is abandoning. What does it mean? Abandoning means you know how 5 hindrances is arising in your mind. So you have to abandon. Sensual desire arise, abandon it. Hatred arise, abandon it. Sleepiness and dullness arise, abandon it. Restlessness and anxiety arise, abandon it. Doubt arise, abandon it. How will you abandon? Harmonious practice. True, if you use the harmonious practice again and again, then you will see 5 hindrances will be weaker. Then eventually your mind will be more sharper, tranquil. So now Venerable Mahakutita will ask, friend, how many conditions are there for the rising of right view? What does it mean, right view? Right view means harmonious perspective. Sammaditthi. Right? In Eightfold Noble Path, Sammaditthi, Samma Sankappa. Harmonious perspective and then harmonious thought, right? Or right thought. These two things are called wisdom. Why here are called wisdom? Because you understand what is suffering. You understand what is the origin of suffering. You understand what is the cessation of suffering. You understand the way leading to the cessation of suffering. That means in your mind harmonious perspective arose, and then right thought arose, That means wisdom arose. So here Venerable Sariputta said, friend, there are 2 conditions for the rising of right view, for the rising of harmonious perspective. What are 2? The voice of another and wise wisdom. So the voice of another means Buddha's voice, and wise wisdom means Buddha's wisdom. Buddha could see the link of dependent origination very, very clearly. So after attaining the enlightenment, after becoming awakened one, the Buddha could see all the dependent origination very clearly. Patisya samupada. He could see, he could experience very clearly. And then he said to Venerable Ananda, do you know the dependent origination? He said, yes, I know. I can see very well. It's very easy. Then Buddha said, oh Ananda, it's not easy. Then he asked again and again. Venerable Ananda couldn't answer. Because it's so deep. So these are the 2 conditions for the rising of harmonious perspective, right view. The next question is, friend, by how many factors is right view, harmonious perspective, assisted when it has deliverance of mind for its path and fruit? Here mentioned, you see, for its fruit, here should be path and fruit, magga and phala. Deliverance of mind for its path and fruit and benefit, when it has deliverance by wisdom for its path and fruit, deliverance by wisdom for its path and fruit and benefit, then Venerable Sariputta said, friend, harmonious practice is assisted by 5 factors. When it has deliverance of mind for its path and fruit, deliverance of mind for its path and fruit and benefit. When it has deliverance by wisdom for its path and fruit, deliverance by wisdom for its path and fruit and benefit. Here, friend, harmonious perspective is assisted by what are the 5? Virtue, learning, discussion, serenity, and insight. These 5 factors. Assisted. You see? Is it clear? This Sutta language is very clear, right? It's not like Abhidhamma or commentaries. It's very simple. Harmonious practice assisted by these 5 factors has deliverance of mind for its fruit, path and fruit, deliverance of mind for its path and fruit and benefit. It has deliverance by wisdom for its path and fruit, deliverance by wisdom for its path and fruit and benefit. Now, Venerable Mahakuttita ulaks about bhava, being or existence. Okay? So there are 3 kinds of bhava. Kama bhava is called sense sphere being. Then rupa bhava, fine material being. And arupa bhava, that means immaterial being or immaterial existence. So friend, how many kinds of being are there? 3. We already said. There are these 3 kinds of being, friend. Sense sphere being, kama bhava. Fine material being, rupa bhava. And immaterial being, arupa bhava. Friend, how many renewal of being in the future generated? Friend, renewal of being in the future is generated through the delighting in this and that on the part of beings who are hindered by ignorance and fettered by craving. You see, ignorance. Do you understand ignorance? What does it mean? Why they use ignorance here? Ignorance means you don't understand what is craving. You don't understand what is suffering. What is the cause of suffering? What is the cessation of suffering? What is the way that leading to the cessation of suffering? They are called ignorance. So when you understand these 4 noble truths, that means you have wisdom, no ignorance. You're free from ignorance. In your mind, wisdom arose. Fettered by craving. You see? All the time Buddha said. So craving arises through the sensual desire, the sense sphere. So if there is no bhava, there is no birth. So what does it mean craving? As I mentioned yesterday, I like it, I don't like it mind. When sensual desire arises in my mind, I like it, I want to get again and again, more and more. Because I feel comfortable, I feel pleasure. I like it. Hatred arises in my mind, I don't like it. I want to stay alone, don't disturb me, anyone. You see, when I see the hated person, I don't like it, I want to see his face. And the anger arises in my mind because I dislike him. Right? I like it, I don't like it, mind. And then, friend, how is renewable of being in the future not generated? So first one is generated and another one is not generated. Friend, with the fading away of ignorance, you see, when you have wisdom, fading away means you have wisdom. With the rising of true knowledge, what does it mean, true knowledge? The true knowledge means you understand the link of dependent origination. You can see the link of dependent origination. You have panya, you have wisdom. And with the cessation of craving, so you know how craving is fading away, how craving is abandoning. You know that, you understand that. Renewal of being in the future is not generated. You see? If you know how to abandon craving, then craving cannot arise anymore. So, if no craving, that means your mind tranquil, peaceful. You ceased that craving, you attain Nibbana. Now it's very interesting. The first jhana. So how will you understand the first jhana? Do you know the characteristic of the first jhana? How many factors are there in the first jhana? Do you know that? I'm asking you. How do you understand you attain the first jhana now?
It has pleasure, feels good, and
you have to have all those things, all the characteristics have to come in your mind. Then you will be able to see, oh, now I am attaining the first jhana. Last retreat, the 4 people came here for practicing. Two of them, students, they are very young. They never experienced jhana. They never know what is the characteristic of jhana. And this was the first time for them to understand. Because I asked them again and again and they were scared, I told them, you have to explain to me what is the characteristic of first jhana and how many factors are there in the first jhana. There are 5 factors. You have to remember that. And it have to come in your mind very clearly. Savitaka savisara piti sukha ekagata. How many? 5. Savitaka savisara. Thinking and examining thought. Question and answer. Question, answer. Question, answer. Thinking and examining thought. Savitaka savisara. Piti, joy will arise. Sukha, happiness arise. Right? Ekagata, unification of mind. So these 5 factors, when will be present in your mind, and then 5 hindrances won't arise. 5 hindrances will be the absent in your mind. Then you are in the first jhana. Is it clear? I'll talk again and again within 10 days. You'll understand that from different suttas. You need to be more clear. I want you to understand first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana very, very clearly. When you go back from here, all jhana factors have to be clear to you. And if possible, I'll try to explain more also about the Akasa Nansayatana, the base of infinite space, the base of consciousness, the base of nothingness, the base of neither perception nor non-perception. All those things, you have to be clear in your mind. Then when you go back, you can practice yourself. You can listen this talk from YouTube, then you can practice yourself. Is it clear? Right? So, here said, what is the first jhana, friend? Here, friend, quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states, a person enters upon and abides in the first jhana, which is accompanied by thinking and examining thought with joy and happiness born of seclusion. When you practice, you are so seclusion. You see, unwholesome thought, that means 5 hindrances never arise in your mind. You see, sensual pleasure never arise. Unwholesome thought, all 5 hindrances never arise. This is called first jhana. It is a stage of level of understanding, or it is a stage of understanding, of stage of meditation. What does it mean, jhana? Jhana means stage of meditation, or level of meditation, level of understanding, or stage of meditation. I always use the stage of meditation. That always makes sense to me. It's more clear. In translation, you'll get different translation. In that book, you'll get different translation. But here, what Bhante Vimalramsi translated is more, makes sense to me. It's more clear, because this is more clear when you practice meditation, then it's more clear to understand. Friend, how many factors does the first jhana have? You see, what I explained is coming. Friend, the first jhana have 5 factors. Here, when a person has entered upon the first jhana, there occur thinking and examining thought, joy, happiness, and unification mind. Unification of mind. Right? Savitaka, Savisara, Piti, Sukha, Ekagata. It's called thinking and examining thought, Savitaka, Savisara, joy, piti, happiness, sukha, and unification of mind, ekagata. So these 5 factors will be present in your mind. 5 hindrances will be absent in your mind. That means you are in the first jhana. You have confidence. Now I attain first jhana. Does it make sense? That is why the first jhana has 5 factors. Friend, how many factors are abandoned in the first jhana, and how many factors are possessed? You see, I already explained that. Then here you listen again. Friend, in the first jhana, 5 factors are abandoned and 5 factors are possessed. Here, when a person has entered upon the first jhana, sensual desire is abandoned, ill will is abandoned, sloth and torpor or sleepiness and dullness are abandoned, restlessness and anxiety are abandoned, and doubt is abandoned. Right? You see? All 5 hindrances will be abandoned, and 5 wholesome thought will arise. What are the five things arise? Savitaka, Savisara, Piti, Sukha, Ekagrata. Thinking and examining thought, joy, happiness, and unification of mind will arise. Then I attain the first jhana. Is it clear? Okay, we'll go next. Here said, and there occur thinking and examining thought, joy, happiness, and unification of mind, ekagrata. That is how in the first jhana 5 factors are abandoned and 5 factors are possessed. Okay? Now, Venerable Mahakutita will ask about the 5 faculties. Friend, these 5 faculties each have a separate field, a separate domain. Domain means what? Domain means a sphere. And do not experience each other's field and domain. That is, eye faculty, the ear faculty, the nose faculty, the tongue faculty, the body faculty. So, how do you say in Pali? Indriya. 5 indriya. Pancha indriya. Now, of those 5 faculties, each having a separate field, a separate domain, not experiencing each other's field or domain. What is their result? What experiences their field and domain? This is the question. Venerable Sariputta will answer. Friend, these 5 faculties each have a separate field, a separate domain, and do not experience each other's field and domain. That is, the eye faculty, the ear faculty, the nose faculty, the tongue faculty, and the body faculty. Now, these 5 faculties, each having a separate field, a separate domain, not experiencing each other's field and domain, have mind as their result, and mind experiences their field and domain. The friend, as to these 5 faculties, that is the eye faculty, the ear faculty, the nose faculty, the tongue faculty, the body faculty, what do these 5 faculties stand in dependence on? Another question. Is it dependent on? 5 faculties stand in dependence on? Then Venerable Sariputta will answer. As to these 5 faculties, that is, the eye faculty, the ear faculty, the nose faculty, the tongue faculty, the body faculty, these 5 faculties stand in dependence on vitality. You see? Vitality. What does vitality stand in dependence on? Vitality stands in dependence on heat. You see, is it very deep, right? It's very deep. That's why I said at the beginning, this sutta is very deep. But anyway, when you listen again and again and you practice more, then it will come to your mind. Friend, what does heat stand in dependence on? Heat stands in dependence on vitality. Just now, friend, we understood the Venerable Sariputta to have said vitality stands in dependence on heat. And now we understand him to say, heat stands in dependence on vitality. You see, one depends on another. How should the meaning of these statements be regarded? Indeed, in that case, friend, I will give you a simile. You see, this is very deep and very, very deep. That's why I think Venerable Mahakutita didn't understand what Venerable Sariputta said. Is one depend on another, another depend on another. So that's why he's going to give a simile. When he will give a simile, then it will be clear. I'll give you a simile. For some wise men, he understand the meaning of a statement by means of a simile. Just as when an oil lamp is burning, its radiance is seen in dependence on its flame, and its flame is seen in dependence on its radiance. Is it clear? If no light, if you light a candle, so you'll see the flame there. The flame will give the light around the room, right? So same things in our body also same. Vitality. So too, vitality stands in dependence on heat. You see, sometimes our body becomes heat, right? And heat stands in dependence on vitality. Same way. Now, Venerable Kutita is going to explain vital formation. Friend, are vital formations things that can be felt, or are vital formations one thing and things that can be felt another? Vital formation, friend, are not things that can be felt. If vital formation were things that can be felt, then a monk who has entered upon the cessation of perception, the cessation of feeling, the cessation of consciousness would not be seen to emerge from it. You see? Because vital formation are one thing and things that can be felt another. A monk who has entered upon the cessation of perception, the cessation of feeling, the cessation of consciousness can be seen to emerge from it. You know, when you attain the neither perception nor non-perception, these three things will stop. Then you'll feel the huge joy will arise in your mind. The cessation of feeling, the cessation of perception, the cessation of consciousness. When everything is stopped, then when you come out from there, you'll feel the huge joy will rest in your mind. You'll never experience in a human life. That means you will attain the Sutta-patti Magga. That moment. So when you attain the Sutta-patti Magga, the path of the stream enter, you may fall down from there. You may drop if you don't practice continuously. If you practice continuously from there, and again the cessation of perception, the cessation of feeling, the cessation of consciousness will stop again. Then again you feel the huge joy will arise in your mind. You feel, wow, so happy, all the time smiling. And your mentality, you feel so light, tranquil, everything, your six senses, everything so clear. Then you will attain the fruition of stream mantra. Sutta-patti path. Okay? So friend, when this body is body is Virat. Virat means cut off. Of how many states is it then discarded and forsaken, left lying senseless like a rock? They are talking about like that body, you know. Friend, when this body is bereft of three states, what are the three? Vitality, heat, and consciousness. When those three things gone, that means you dead. When these three things will be absent, your body will be dead body. It is then discarded and forsaken, left lying senseless like a rock. Then people will announce, this is dead body. This is dead body of this, dead body of that. People will say that way. Friend, what is the difference between one who is dead, who has completed his time, a man who has entered upon the cessation of perception, the cessation of feeling, the cessation of consciousness? This is the question. And Venerable Sariputta said, friend, in the case of one who is dead, who has completed his time, his bodily formation have ceased and subsided, his verbal formations has ceased and subsided, his mental formations have ceased and subsided, his vitality is exhausted, his heat has been dissipated, and his faculties are fully broken up. Everything is gone, you see. In the case of a man who has entered upon the cessation of perception, the cessation of feeling, the cessation of consciousness, his bodily formation has ceased and subsided. His verbal formation has ceased and subsided. His mental formation has ceased and subsided. But his vitality is not exhausted. His heat has not been dissipated, and his faculties become exceptionally clear. This is meditation. This is meditation. Talking about that. You see, when someone attains Arahant, so their perception, feeling, and then consciousness, these three things will arise again when they are reborn again. Especially for the Arahant, they are never reborn. So that's why he has exceptionally clear to them when they attain Arahantship. You know, all faculties become exceptionally clear to them. But who doesn't attain that? No clear. This is the difference between one who is dead, right? Who understands completed his time, and a monk who has entered upon the cessation of perception, feeling, and consciousness. One who attained the highest path, one who get the highest attainment, they can understand these three things very clearly. In others, everything that they don't know what is going on. Right? So, Venerable Kuttita said again, friend, how many conditions are there for the attainment of the neither painful nor pleasant deliverance of mind? So you see, they are talking about Upekka, fourth jhana. Friend, are there four conditions for the attainment of the neither painful nor pleasant deliverance of mind. Here, with the abandoning of pleasure and pain, and with the previous disappearance of joy and grief, a monk enters upon and abides in the fourth jhana, which has neither pain nor pleasure and purity of mindfulness due to equanimity. That means your feeling will come from here to the top of your head. Then if you know there's no pain, no pleasure, your mind's equanimity all the time. When you are practicing walking meditation, your mind's on a balance. You have a lot of equanimity. You see? So balanced. Friend, these are the four conditions for the attainment of the neither painful nor pleasant deliverance of mind. Okay? Friend, how many conditions are there for the attainment of the signless deliverance of mind? Signless. It's called, sign means nimitta. We call it in Pali. Friend, these are two conditions for the attainment of the signless deliverance of mind: non-attention to all signs and attention to the signless element. These are the two elements for the attainment of the signless deliverance of mind. Friend, how many conditions are there for the persistence of the signless deliverance of mind? There are the three conditions for the persistence of the signless deliverance of mind. One, non-attention to all signs. Second, attention to the signless element. And the last one, the prior determination of its duration. Is three. These are the three conditions for the persistence of the signless deliverance of mind. It's a little bit deep, right? It's difficult.
Yeah.
I know. But anyway, you have to read again and again this sutta, listen again and again. Then when you practice more and more, it will come to your mind. Friend, these are two conditions for the emergence from the signless deliverance of mind: attention to all signs and non-attention to the signless element. These are the two conditions for emergence from the signless deliverance of mind. Friend, the immeasurable deliverance of mind. What does it mean, immeasurable?
Cannot measure.
Immeasurable means Brahma Vihara. Immeasurable, Brahma Vihara. Loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. So, immeasurable deliverance of mind. This is Brahma Vihara. The deliverance of mind through nothingness. The deliverance of mind through voidness. The signless deliverance of mind. Three things. These states different in meaning and different in name, or are they one in meaning and different only in name? You see, another question. They are same? Their name also same? Is it the same things? Friend, immeasurable deliverance of mind, the deliverance of mind through nothingness, the deliverance of mind through voidness, the signless deliverance of mind, there is a way in which these states are different in meaning. You see, states are different in meaning and different in name. They are not the same. Their states also different and name also different. And there is a way in which they are one in meaning and different only in name. There is a way in which they are one in meaning and different only in name. Friend, what is the way in which these states are different in meaning and different in name? Here, among the words, now we are going to explain. What are you practicing right now?
Loving kindness.
Loving kindness, 6 direction.
6 direction.
You are practicing loving kindness, 6 direction, right? So now Venerable Sariputra is going to explain 6 direction. Here you see, you understand here. Here among, what is the question? Question is, friend, what is the way in which these states are different in meaning and different in name? This is the question. And now Venerable Sariputra is going to answer. Here a bhikkhu, here a monk wears pervading 1/4 with a mind imbued with loving kindness. Likewise the second, likewise the third, likewise the fourth. What does it mean?
All directions.
What does it mean? Likewise the first, likewise the second, likewise the third, likewise the fourth. What does it mean?
Directions.
You see, a monk avoids perverting 1/4 with a mind imbued with loving kindness. That means forward.
Yeah.
You radiate loving kindness forward 5 minutes. Likewise the second, backward. Likewise the third, right side, left side. Likewise the fourth, right side. This is the meaning. Okay? So above, below, around, and everywhere to all as to himself, he avoids providing the all-encompassing world with a mind imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. So when you radiate loving kindness forward 5 minutes, in your mind, no hostility, no ill will to any living beings. Right? You have metta, loving kindness. So that's why he has said, without hostility, without ill will. Okay? He avoids perverting 1/4 with a mind imbued with compassion. You see, when you can practice loving kindness, then compassion is the same way. You just practice. It will change from loving kindness to compassion, from compassion to joy, from joy to equanimity. It will change automatically. He avoids pervading 1/4 with a mind imbued with compassion, karuna. Likewise the second, likewise the third, likewise the fourth. So above, below, around, and everywhere, and to all as to himself, he avoids pervading the all-encompassing world with a mind imbued with compassion, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill. He avoids pervading 1/4 with a mind imbued with joy, likewise the second, likewise the third, likewise the fourth. So all those things are talking about metta, karuna, mudita, upekkha. Okay? So above, below, around, and everywhere to all as to himself, he avoids perverting the all-encompassing world with a mind imbued with joy, abundant, exalted, immeasurable with hostility and will. He avoids perverting 1/4 with a mind imbued with equanimity. You see, upekkha. Likewise the second, likewise the third, likewise the fourth. So above, below, around, and everywhere, and to all as to himself, he avoids perverting the all-encompassing world with a mind imbued with equanimity, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, with a hostility and without ill. This is called the immeasurable deliverance of mind. This is called full immeasurable meditation. This is called metta, loving kindness, karuna, compassion, mudita, joy, upekkha, equanimity. It's also called the immeasurable deliverance of mind. Is it clear? You know, many translators explain altruistic joy. What does it mean? Altruistic joy means it doesn't It doesn't work here. Altruistic joy means you succeed your exam. You told me, Bante, you know, I got PhD from Singapore. I was happy. Wow, sadhu, sadhu. I really bless you. I'm really happy. Because you got the PhD from Singapore. This is called altruistic joy. Altruistic joy. But here, the meditation different. You see? Altruistic joy here means you have to attain uplifting joy will arise only through meditation. You know, you'll see how consciousness arising, passing away, arising, passing away. You'll see that you'll be able to identify, recognize the link of dependent origination. Then joy will rise in your mind. Okay? And next, friend, what is the deliverance of mind through nothingness? I already explained that. You know, so here is more clear. Here with the complete surmounting of the base of infinite consciousness, where that there is nothing. So when the Akinchina Ayatana, a person enters upon and abides in the base of nothingness. He's just watching your mind. So you'll see your mind is so balanced. When your mind is little bit unbalanced, then you just use the harmonious practice. And again watching. You'll see, you'll be able to see it to 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, like that. You know, your mind would not be distracted 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, no distraction in that state. So, friend, what is the deliverance of mind through quietness? Here a man gone to the forest or to the root of a tree or to an ant-hill reflects thus. This is the void of a self or of what belongs to a self. That means there is no I. There is no me. There is no I am. Everything impersonal. They experience that. They feel that. You see, the void of a self and of what belongs to a self. This is belong to me. This house belong to me. This is belong to my son. Everything impersonal. This is called deliverance of mind through voidness. Friend, what is the signless deliverance of mind? Here, with non-attention to all signs. A monk enters upon and abides in the signless collectedness of mind. What does it mean, collectedness? Your mind is so collected, so tranquil. You know, ekaggata will arise in your mind, collectedness. And your mind is calm, ekaggata will rise, signless. This is called the signless deliverance of mind. This is the way in which these states are different in meaning and different in name. You see? You understand what is that? Nothingness, voidness, signless. Name is different and then practice also different. Friend, what is the way in which these states are one in meaning and different only in name? You see, lust is a maker of measurement. Hate is a maker of measurement. And delusion is a maker of measurement. So these three things, wholesome or unwholesome?
Unwholesome.
Unwholesome. When these three dhammas rise in my mind, what will I do?
Should do harmonious practice.
Harmonious practice. That way, you'll see that I recognize, release, relax, bring up the wholesome thought. Instead of lust, I'll bring up what? Non-lust. Right? Greed, non-greed. Hate, non-hate. And then delusion, non-delusion. In that way, in my mind will arise wholesome. So more you smile and more wholesome to rise. You feel relaxing in your head and in your whole body. You feel comfortable, that means happiness. Light happiness. You know? In a monk whose things are destroyed, all the negativity, okay? Angry, lust, hatred, envy, conceit, arrogant, all those things are called things. So, asava, inflow. In a monk whose things are destroyed, these are abandoned, cut off at the tree, made like a palm tree, done away with, so that they are no longer subject to future rising, no more rise, because they cut off. This sentence I love very much. It's very interesting. Of all the kinds of immeasurable deliverance of mind, the unshakable deliverance of mind is pronounced the best. Now that unshakable deliverance of mind is void of lust, void of hate, void of delusion. Lust is a something, hate is a something, delusion is a something. In a monk whose things are destroyed, these are abandoned, cut off at the root, made like a palm stump, done away with, so that they are no longer subject to future rising. Of all the kinds of deliverance of mind, true nothingness, the unshakable deliverance of mind is pronounced the best. Now that unshakable deliverance of mind is void of lust, void of hate, void of delusion. And eventually, lust is a maker of signs, hate is a maker of signs, delusion is a maker of signs. In a monk whose things are destroyed, these are abandoned, cut off at the root, make like a palm stump, done away with, so that they are no longer subject to future rising. If no arise, that means you live at a nirvana. You see? So wonderful. Of all the kinds of silence, deliverance of mind, the unshakable deliverance of mind is pronounced the best. Now that unshakable deliverance of mind is void of lust, void of hate, void of delusion. This is the way in which these states are one in meaning and different only in name. That is what the Venerable Sariputta said. The Venerable Mahakutita was satisfied and delighted in the Venerable Sariputta's words. You see, these are called Mahavedalla Sutta, the greater series of question and answers.